Hello there, my name is Daryl and today I shall be telling you about the story of Ajisaka. Once upon a time, there was a man. His name was Ajisaka. He had two followers, Dora and Sambada. They sailed from the country of Hindustan and sailed by boat south. Ajisaka heard of a beautiful island named Jawadvipa. Jawadvipa was a rich island, and such he was interested. Unfortunately, the weather was bad. There was a storm and the boat crashed. After a few months floating out at sea, the boat was finally cast onto an island named Majeti. There are no people on this island. It is so quiet, said Ajisaka. What is the name of this island, master? Asked Dora. Well, I don't know. We haven't met someone yet, so we can't ask about the name of this island, replied Ajisaka. Why don't we name this island, master? Sambada gave advice. Yes, I will name this island. I shall name it Majeti Island, said Ajisaka. They took some time to relax and repaired the crashed boat. When the boat was ready, they went away. However, unfortunately, Sambada got sick, so he was left on the island. When they started their journey to Jawadvipa, Ajisaka told something to Sambada. Without Dora's knowing, Ajisaka gave him a magic dagger. Sambada, please bring this dagger to protect yourself. When I arrive in Jawadvipa, I will be back here to pick you up. Remember, do not give this dagger to anybody except me, said Ajisaka. Yes, master, I will remember that, replied Sambada. After that, Ajisaka and Dora left Majeti Island. The boat docked at Jawadvipa Island. After getting off from the island, Ajisaka and Dora visited a house owned by an old widow. What is the name of this village, Nyai? Asked Ajisaka. It is Senkeran village, said the old widow. And what country is it? Asked Ajisaka again. Madang, she said. The woman was called Nyai Senkeran by Ajisaka. Nyai Senkeran felt happy with Ajisaka and Dora's coming. She lived alone and regarded the two men as her own sons. Ajisaka helped Nyai Senkeran to work in her rice field. Ajisaka was a good and well-mannered man, and as such, all of the villagers liked him. It's really a nice village. I'd like to live here. The villagers are so friendly, Ajisaka said to one of the villagers. Yes, it is. However, the villagers are always afraid and paranoid, replied the villagers. Well, why do they feel paranoid? Asked Ajisaka. Well, the king of Padang is very cruel, answered Nyai Senkeran. Really? What has he done to the villagers? Asked Ajisaka. He always asks for the villagers to be his meal. It is very scary. We're always worried to wait when it's our turn to be his meal, said the sad villager. He's really a cruel king. This is terrible, said Ajisaka. Ajisaka wanted to meet the king, who was called Dewata Shankar. I want to meet King Dewata Shankar and become his follower, said Ajisaka. The villagers and Nyai Senkeran warned Ajisaka that what he wanted to do was a really dangerous thing. However, Ajisaka wanted to execute his plan. He wanted to get close to Dewata Shankar and then execute him, so the villagers didn't have to feel afraid anymore. One day, several commanders of the Mandang kingdom visited Senkeran village. The villagers were of course scared, because if the commanders visited the village, it meant that someone there would have to become Prabhu Dewata Shankar's meal. Ajisaka, however, comforted the villagers. He instructed them to stay at Nyai Senkeran's house. When the commanders saw Ajisaka, they immediately arrested him. They wanted to bring Ajisaka to the palace to become Prabhu Dewata Shankar's meal. So, Ajisaka was brought to the palace. All of the villagers felt sad. However, Dora comforted them. He said that the villagers didn't need to be worried, because Ajisaka was a strong man, and he had great supernatural powers. Prabhu Dewata Shankar was a giant. His body was huge and scary. His face was very ugly. However, Ajisaka didn't fear him. When Prabhu Devata Shankar asked Ajisaka to become his meal, Ajisaka proposed a requirement. "Before you eat me, can I ask of one thing?" asked Ajisaka. "What do you want to ask? Just say it," scolded Devata Shankar. His voice was like thunder. "I just want to ask for a piece of land as wide as my turban." Ajisaka showed his turban. Devata Shankar agreed with Ajisaka's request. Ajisaka asked Devata Shankar to do what Ajisaka did, and Shaka said. However, there was a miracle. When the turban was pulled, it got longer and longer. Prabhu Devata Shankar kept going back to pull Ajisaka's turban. Miraculously, Ajisaka's turban was getting longer and longer. Prabhu Devata Shankar finally arrived on the edge of the South Sea, which was quite sheer. Ajisaka pulled out the turban until Prabhu Devata Shankar fell into the sea. Then Devata Shankar transformed himself into a white crocodile. After a fierce battle between Ajisaka and Devata Shankar, which was won by Ajisaka, the citizens of Madang Kingdom felt secure from fear. They admired Ajisaka as their hero. Ajisaka was crowned as the king of Madang Kingdom. Unfortunately, he had no weapon. He must have a weapon. He remembered about the dagger in Majeti Island. Ajisaka instructed Dora to take the dagger. Dora obeyed Ajisaka's instructions and went to Majeti Island. When he arrived at Majeti Island, he met Sambada and told what Ajisaka said. Dora asked for the dagger. However, Sambada refused. Sambada also said that Ajisaka told him not to give the dagger to anyone except Ajisaka himself. And that is why Sambada refused to give the dagger to Dora. They argued on their opinions. Both of them were actually right, because both carried on the message from their leader. Finally, they fought to defend their opinion. Both of them were powerful and killed each other. Then both of them were dead. Meanwhile, Ajisaka felt that something bad had happened. It was a bad instinct. He finally went to Majeti Island to see what had happened. He was shocked to see both of his followers dead. He regretted what had happened. To give an honor to Dora and Sambada, he carved Japanese letters into stone. The letters are Hanacharaka, there were 2 messengers. Ratasawala, they fought Padajayanya, both of them were strong. Maga Batanga, they were dead. And that is the story of Ajisaka. Thank you for listening.